right? So, hi Kartik, how are you doing?
Yes, sir. Good evening. Very grateful to be here.
Right. So, let the world know that you are All India rank 39 in Clat 2021. How does it feel to be All India rank 39?
Oh, that's a very nice question, sir. Of course, like the moment I actually got the scorecard that evening, that day was, of course, like full of anxiety because they'd been saying it's going to be coming on that day. But by the end of it, they just said it's going to be coming at midnight. So it was actually after so many years that I actually remember that I cried when I got the results, since like it was something that like I had been entirely working on a singular project since quite long. So when you actually get the results, it was like a rather emotional moment for me, since I identify as somebody who's rather phlegmatic, doesn't really bother about emotions and all. But when I did see that I would be going to where I really wanted to, it was like that.
And how kicked were your parents about it?
Oh yeah, they did understand the significance of what it does mean to me, since like they also saw me somewhat working for it since so long. So yeah, they also shared similar emotions. My father was rather proud. Like I guess relatives from all over Saharanpur have been contacting him since quite long. So yes, it's the talk of the family for this week.
Talk of the family, and you are the reason for it, huh? So
Yes,
that's
sir.
another way of looking at it, that the entire family, the extended family, and their extended family are all talking about you getting into NLSIU Bangalore. So take us through that journey of 1.5 years that
Yeah.
brought you to where you are right now.
Yes, sir. So like by the end of it, like when I actually got the results, and I did actually undertake some
Okay, so
introspection because
Kartik,
yes, sir.
congratulations here. So I and before you start off, right, and I want you to start, and again, बहुत मुबारक हो यार. I think that's a wonderful feeling also, right? Other than just clearing the exam, it's a wonderful feeling. कितने सारे लोग आपको बात करने के लिए, right? That they're looking out for Kartik, right?
Yeah.
But as you just mentioned, right, and I want you to start the story from there. Ki on that day, right, and as you said that when you saw your scorecard, but what were you expecting on that day, right? So did you had the confidence कि इतना तो अच्छा हो गया था मेरा exam that you will be there in the list, or it was like touch and go, or maybe you were sure about getting into the top 5 but not really sure about the top 100? Like what was going through your mind?
Right. So over here, so that there's something very important to understand, that the regardless of how well you've done in the exam, like I got 107 marks in the exam, right? So regardless of the number of marks that I got, if there is a significant proportion of people who've gotten more marks than I am, my marks are immaterial entirely. So if I'm entirely stupid, but if I'm smarter than a great proportion of individuals who are appearing for the examination, then I'm sorted. So more than me, the exam depends on everybody else about how well they are able to perform as compared to I am. So I couldn't really make a comment at that time itself whether I'm going to be getting into NLS or no after I gave the exam. Plus, of course, like once you are in a situation of anxiety, you things in life do somehow end up in a situation that they will try to exaggerate it. So I went to this beautiful application called Telegram, right? And then I saw all these public groups having all these polls. And one of the polls said that 360 people and more have voted that they got more than 120 marks in the exam. So that was rather daunting. I thought that, man, 360 people, if people are being honest, then it would be even very difficult to get into Bhopal or Jodhpur then. So let's try for next year. But then like again, like that's entirely futile. I should not have done that. It should have been in a situation of
Would have caused more anxiety and more sleepless nights.
Yeah. But then only I guess one person got more than 120 marks. That was the person who got the first time. Nobody else got it. So 360 liars have been individuals I have seen.
Correct. Maybe they've attempted 120 questions. Yeah, must not. Yeah. So you were taking us through the journey of you being in 11 in when. So let me first ask you, when did you make up your mind that law is the career that is meant for me, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get into law, and probably the best college? When was that?
Oh, like all my teachers and individuals in authority had always been saying that I'm too rebellious. So from that, I did observe that law could be a way to go. But then the thing is that I was never too sure, right? Because I don't think that anyone would ever be having a perfection of knowledge that will qualify them to make such a decision. Like we've studied in economics, right? With situations of perfect competition and how they can never exist, since a consumer can never be given the magnitude of information required for them to make a perfect decision. So you can never be too sure that you want to go over here. I like today, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing after the end of 5 years, since that's something I have 5 years to figure out. But I was reasonably confident that, yeah, this could be some path that I could work on. It's only an exam.
When did you realize that? In 11th, maybe earlier, 12th, which part?
Oh, I think like Sandeep sir was the person I met for the first time talking about what I can actually do in life. And he told me that, man, law could be the thing for you. So try to figure it out.
Which
so
was when? 11th or 12th? Early part of 12th?
I think, yeah, early 12th or something like that.
Early part of 12th. Okay. So just for everyone's information, Kartik, and we've had that discussion last time when we talked.
Yeah.
You have a 99% in your 12th and you have a rank 39 in Clat. Right?
Yes, sir.
The question which would be in a lot of aspirants' mind next year, or maybe people who want to repeat it, how did you manage both?
Oh, like by the end of it, I actually had mathematics as a subject in classes 11th and 12th, which like I did when I analyzed it, a huge proportion of my time actually went only towards doing that subject. And now that I look at it, if I won't have taken these subjects, because they do not really play any role at all for your success in these law entrances, because that's absolutely different stuff. So if I would not have taken this subject or instead taken another one, I could probably have saved up quite some time to prepare for law only. But then in maths also, I guess I ended up scoring 100 only. So
wow.
didn't really
the effort paid off.
Yes, sir.
So how did you manage both? Because बीच में midterms, unit test, board वो सब होते थे. So how did you wiggle your way to give enough time to Clat as well as to your boards?
So to be honest, I was not that systematic about how I believe I could potentially have been. So it was not like these many hours are going to be going towards this subject for school, these many hours for this subject for Clat. Rather, like I envisioned that if I do every single subject with an aim that I'm able to fulfill what my potential for this subject is, it would be somewhat beneficial in all spheres of life. So I didn't really take it as, like, for example, there's also English that you have to study in class 12, which is very, very elementary, like only 2 books, very small books. So if you are going to be going towards that with the perspective that, yeah, man, I'm doing this only for CBSE and then I have to mug up all these things over here. And then you may even succeed in doing that, but then it is only going to be confined to the exam that you're giving. But rather, if you attempt to transcend the subjects from the examination towards the subject itself, and then telling yourself that I want to fulfill the potential I have for this subject, then that will transcend that subject and will be helpful to you in all spheres of life as well. So the mathematical skills that you will gain, the logical skills that you will gain, the argumentation skills that you will gain after reading so much for law entrances, after, say, if you're a political science student, if you're a humanities student, you would be reading lots and lots of external things already. So all of that should constitute into making you a well-rounded, sensitized, and responsible individual, and that actually transcends the subjects themselves. That's actually what makes you what you are.
So no wonder you have taken up law as a stream, because of the way you give very, very explained answers to the questions which are to normal person simple. कि यहाँ कैसे manage किया, कितने घंटे पढ़ लेता था, 5-6 घंटे पढ़ लेता था, 12th के लिए नहीं पढ़ता था.
Oh, if that's a simple question that we wish to get an answer to, I'd say that I didn't put in as many hours that a person ordinarily would. Like, I actually hear people in these interviews that I'm also really inspired by, and I'm also watching of people who've gotten great ranks in the exam. Like, people had study routines of 10 hours, 12 hours and more. I just could not do that. Because to do that, you have to, like, this is something I guess we discussed last time as well. To do that, you have to entirely seclude yourself and detach yourself from all major social relations that you had prior to diving deep into your exam preparation, which is an idea I found entirely futile. So that idea did come to me as well, that, yeah, man, what if I am not studying for these 2 minutes that somebody else is? And that person has an advantage of 2 minutes as opposed to me. And then they could get more marks than me as well if they're spending these 2 minutes in studying that I am not. But then that's a very bad idea, because things do not work out in a linear fashion. That if you are spending 2 minutes, the worth that you are extracting out of those 2 minutes could be entirely equal to or even greater than the words somebody is extracting out of 5 hours or 7 hours, right? So what matters is the quality of studying, because sometimes we confuse two things, that is activity and productivity. That we feel that because we are putting in these many hours into it and we're just doing something, like it's not really something that we have scientifically designed for ourselves. We have not analyzed our own personality, but we are just doing everything that we possibly can. And then hoping that, yeah, eventually it's going to work out. It probably won't, because you have to first see your own strengths and weaknesses. The only thing that a wise man actually knows are the limits to their own ignorance. So if you are able to point out what you are good at, what you aren't, and then you start building upon stuff you aren't good at, and you do it for limited periods of time with sufficient breaks, talking to lots of your friends, maintaining good relationships and friendships with people, that should be something that you are going about. Don't seclude yourself in saying that this is the only thing I'm going to do, because then you won't be able to do that thing also, since you'll probably end up going mad. That's what I think, if you cut off from everything and just prepare for the exam.
Okay, so Kartik, continuing with this
Yes,
question itself, so you said you, and I think the way you talk, right, I'm sure that you like reading a lot as well, right? So how many books were you able to read in this last 1 year with your CBSE and your Clat preparation going on? Were you able to read other than the stuff for boards and other than the stuff for Clat, or it was a big no that I have to devote every minute, every hour towards my preparation? Or were you able to find time for yourself to read something else as well, maybe a novel or some biography?
yes. So like the thing is that your brilliance shines the most during times of your own creativity.
Yeah.
So these things are not creative, like just doing problem solving and just applying mathematical formulae and then abiding by a set of rules that are given to you. That's not creative. So if you minimize the time that you are spending towards this stuff and you divert it to things that are more creative, like reading and writing and expressing your opinions and building your own personality, that is going to be far more worthwhile. And for me, like, I'm never just reading one book and saying that until I end this book, I will not begin another book. Since what I am looking for are different ideas. What I'm looking for is a variety of different, say, streams and areas from which different ideas can be derived.
Right.
Therefore, like, I'm always juggling with 5-7 books at least the entire time. So I'm able to look at what different ideas every single book can give to me. I don't commit that until I finish this book, I will not pick up anything else, because that too is something that you are saying to satisfy your ego. कि एक किताब पढ़ेंगे तो पढ़ के ही रहेंगे. So even if you don't do that, you should look at the ideas that you're getting from a book and not really that. You can also, I'll tell you, when I started my preparation and until recently, even today, like, my day begins with reading the Hindu, and I read 2 newspapers every single day, even till today. So regardless of the exam being over. So like when I wake up, I read the Hindu. Before I go to sleep, I read the Indian Express. And now that like NLSIU has given all these vast resources, there's a thing called press reader that they've given us. And you can read every single newspaper, every single magazine in the entire world in all different languages. So there is no dearth to read. There is no dearth to explore.
So again, coming back to the question, how many books, right? Yeah. So is there a number which you can give me for the last 1 year, like other than your whatever study books, right? A rough idea, right? Everyone like knows or has a number, no? So,
yes, sir. Yeah, so like I'd say, I would have read at least 20 books. That's something that I'd be able to reasonably say.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 20 books alongside your boards, alongside your Clat preparation. Great. So right. I have a extended question on it. Now that you've given Clat and you've got a fantastic rank in it as well, how big a factor is your reading habits that you've developed over a period of time helped you perform better in Clat? Was that a game changer between people who cleared and people who couldn't? Would you call that as one of the factors?
Oh yes, sir. Of course, like the conversation that we had last time as well, that it's again a rather exclusionary exam in that sense. It only wants individuals who come from English-speaking elite backgrounds. Those are the only individuals who will be able to clear the exam. So in that sense, the exam is rather exclusionary in case of what types of students it wants to study in law schools, right? and therefore individuals who have been reading since a very early age. Now, which individuals would these be? Would these be individuals who are coming from marginalized communities who are probably first generation learners, or would these be individuals who have had long intergenerational patterns of well-educated people? Of course, the latter, right? And therefore, you owe a lot to your own privilege if you're able to succeed at the exam. And that's something that I'd be willing to recognize and would be willing to work towards ensuring in whatever ways possible that I'm able to help out or at least do something for individuals who might be finding it difficult to compete with people who have had long generations of advantages for an exam like this.
Perfect.
Right? So, yes, sir.
So would you tell the consortium to make it continue with this exclusionary methodology, or probably get more people into the picture from next time? What would you recommend to the consortium?
Oh no, sir, I'm too small a person to recommend anything to like all our vice
That's a
chancellors.
very diplomatic answer, Kartik. That's a very
talking like a lawyer, right?
answer.
Talking like a lawyer, right? Right? You never know, right? Whom he meets in the corridors, right? Someday, and he could be asked this question again.
Yes, sir, but a fantastic resource to actually refer to the potential reforms that can happen in systems of our legal education and competitive exams. These would be reports by this organization called Increasing Diversity by Increasing Awareness. They have 4 reports on their website where they've analyzed what impacts legal education has on marginalized communities. Like we had our caste sensitization session at NLSIU yesterday, and it was so moving when we got to know that there were 17 individuals who came from reserved categories to NLSIU in 2011 or some other year, I'm not sure of the year. 5 years later, only 5 people from those 17 who came via reserved categories were able to pass. 2 of the individuals had committed suicide, and other individuals had had many drop years. So it's not just that you're giving a representation. Along with representation, you must also provide equality of opportunity within the school that an individual has had representation in. That is the major challenge.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, so if I were to ask you, so if you were to tell anybody who's an aspirant in the coming future, these are the 3 things that will be the differentiator for you, whether you clear it or you don't. 3 points. One maybe could be extensive reading. What could be the other 2?
Right. Again, and with regards to reading as well, not just reading in the sense you just want to tell yourself that I'm reading these many pages and after these many pages I'm done for the day. Not that. The quantity will never matter. If you are only able to read 1 page and you read that 1 page so well that you are able to explain that to a 5-year-old child also what that 1 page contains, then will I say that I have succeeded in reading. Understanding must be to such a level that you are able to explain it to an individual who has no idea where that information is coming from. So that is where we must aspire towards, when we are reading or inculcating any skill for that matter. But one is going to be reading, and reading a lot, right? Then there would be like basic mathematical ability, right? Because the exam does not want from you to be aware of stuff like time and work or time, speed, and distance, even though that is stuff that was asked in earlier sample papers. So even though it wasn't asked in this exam, it's rather unpredictable. So I'd say that you can somewhat use this R.S. Agarwal book. If someone would be watching, R.S. Agarwal book has 12-13 chapters from all these major topics which are asked in competitive exams. So even if anyone's clear with the elementary organizations of these concepts, they would be at an advantage. But with regards to this year's paper, no concepts were needed, since it was only numbers and how you can play with these numbers and be able to calculate quickly. So that's pretty much the only ability required with regards to mathematics. And along with basic mathematical ability, great reading skills, basic mathematical ability, along with that would be great intensity before the exam. So even if individuals have been studying for 2 years, because I see lots of people doing that, like they study for 2 years, even 3 years for that matter. I'm not sure how someone knows so early that they wish to go about it, but it's great if someone has that degree of understanding of their life. The consistency that you will maintain for the past couple of years or the past couple of months before the exam, that will be overridden by the intensity that you have just some days before the exam. That's my conception of how it works. So like lots of people say that you should not be studying when it comes close to the exam. I gave a mock even the day before the exam, so that I'm having with myself a watch and I'm able to see that 2:08 बजे होंगे तो मेरा GK खत्म हो जाएगा, 2:20 होंगे तो मेरा English खत्म हो जाएगा, 2:30 होंगे तो मेरा maths खत्म हो जाएगा. So that degree of understanding of where you need to be with regards to time, that is what your intensity prior to the days of the exam gives you. That's not something your consistency is going to reward to you. So even if some individual has not prepared for 2 years or 1 year, you are not at a disadvantage. Since the exam does not require from you that degree of, say, understanding of technical things, because it's not a technical exam. It's not like your IIT, JEE and stuff where you need to remember dozens of formulae. It's very simple. You read a passage and then you answer the questions. And if you've done that and you are in the momentum to do that, because what you've done in the past 1 week, it should be momentum enough to get you through the exam as well. That's what I'd say.
So this is probably what I put it as you prepare to be a big match player, right? You have to be, so you have to consistently keep doing a thing over a period of time that it becomes a natural habit, and that is what you replicate in the actual exam. It's like, okay, this, I've given so many of them, this is just another one and I'm gonna get these many marks for sure, right? And go with the, because generally hota kya hai, a lot of people who end up taking up a particular competitive exam preparation, they get overawed by the fact there are so many people giving the exam. There are people who've been studying for 2 years, 1 year, 1.5, whatever, right? And they put a lot of, they take undue stress of the fact that this is a big thing, this is a big day for me, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to perform at spread. But the hard work that has gone behind is what should lead you to be okay with the fact, okay, this is a big day. It's finally, this is the exam that finally counts. And I've been doing it for so many months, years, and the mocks that I've taken, that this is going to be just another one. So great insight.
And to add more to this, and it is not easy also, as Kartik is saying that, you know, like you have to keep working on it, right? You have to keep working on that mental aspect of yours, that okay, you know, aisa hone, because if you start doing that in the last 1 week, then you start panicking even more, right? We have seen kids, right? And that's the reason, I mean, people could be topping in their mocks, right? Or they could be getting very high scores. But then on that day, because they have not worked on this aspect, right, for the last 6 months, that there will be pressure. And vis-a-vis someone who has been constantly telling himself that, okay, that is how, that this is what I need to do 1 day before the exam, right? So, jo bolte na ki practice ho sakta hai wo, or whatever things, right? But you know what you have to do to be match ready. Otherwise, I mean, Anderson will be there, right? And Kohli, I mean, it was so nice, right? So the first ball, I mean, I think it was like, again, a battle of odds, right?
2014,
and first ball and gone for a duck.
And then you also have somebody like a Rishabh Pant who will step out and hit him for a 6.
6, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Right.
So,
but sir,
Kartik,
over here,
do you also watch sports? Are you into sports at all, or like just like read and do your own thing, but not too much into sports and all?
Sir, with your help that you will offer me today, I will surely catch up with my sports today and tomorrow. But other than that, I get to know it from the sports page only, primarily. That's roughly.
Yeah, so not into that.
No, sir, not very much since the past year, but yeah, now I try to catch up with your help. But sir, about what you said over here, I also had 2 things to add on. So one thing is that people start taking the scores that they're getting in their mocks as like a gospel truth that will always stay with them and will never be able to leave them. So,
exactly.
And you know, like lots of people also try boasting about it. Again, all these groups on Telegram where people are sharing their mock scores and everybody is just lying to everybody else about how they're doing. So that's an entirely toxic place to end up in, since nobody is saying the truth over there and everybody is just fretting about petty stuff. That is your mock scores, because the mock probably is not going to be like the actual exam. Okay. But if you have scored low in a mock, that's cool. But do it honestly. Since over here, the only thing that's going to be keeping you in the competition are the principles you define for yourself. So like I remember like lots and lots of mocks at like the Pratham platform as well. Some of them which I did see, there are people who got like 148 marks of 150, 149 marks of 150. And I was so astounded about how somebody can be so perfect. And then I actually went and saw the PDF because the answer key was uploaded right there. So if somebody is in the game just because they wish to boast about the number of marks that they're having, be it in an unprincipled way as well, by way of fabricating it, then it's cool. It's your autonomous decision to do that, but it's not going to be helping you. So because especially in these times, since there aren't really teachers who can come to your house, knock on the door and make you study, the only thing that will matter is the principles that you will set out for yourself, the ones that you have to abide by. So be honest throughout the entire preparation, because living in denial serves no purpose. So if you have, say, fabricated an entire mock from just looking the answers over there and then uploading them over here, it's not really improving your skills, your abilities at all.
You can show it to your parents that I'm studying, but yeah, the actual truth is quite different.
Yeah. And then, sir, on those lines as well, about the competition feeling that you get on the day of the exam itself, when you observe that, yeah, there are going to be 60,000 people who are appearing for this exam with me. The thing is that in the process of studying so much and giving all these mocks, you actually forget how you maintain your calm. So there'll be like the slightest thing that the invigilator will come and ask you that, beta, apna mask utaro, mujhe photo confirm karni hai, aapne mask utara, aap वापस आए, your entire say frame of mind is lost. You are unable to concentrate. So these very, very small things, they can drain away the entire investment you have done towards the exam, both in terms of time and money that you have put in preparing. Right. So more important than mere studying is the ability to maintain calm and maintain your composure during the exam.
Yep.
Since it's only those 2 hours which matter. By the end of it, everyone has those 2 hours, and whatever you make, some people had 2 hours, 5 minutes also this time, depending upon when you got your OMR paper, but whatever that is, you only have that time. So it really comes to how you're able to maintain your mental composure during those 2 hours. Yeah.
Kartik, and but what was your like mock scores range, right? So we are talking about mock scores, and you know, as you said, that you have to keep working on your mock scores. But if you could throw some more light on that range, right? Because a lot of kids, they start feeling demotivated if they see a score of say 70 or 75, and then, you know, like someday you score well, someday you don't, right? But what was it for you, right? How was it like for you? And can you also share your initial mock scores when you started with the mocks, and, you know, like how did you improve your scores?
Yeah. So the thing is that, again, like in these times, one thing which was consistently motivating me was when I saw that there are people who are getting 148 and 149. So I thought that, okay, regardless of how they are getting it, now my task will be that I'm able to get it according to the principles I have set for myself.
Right.
So regardless, you go ahead with the assumption that everybody who's appearing for the mock is appearing with complete honesty and is having the same set of principles as you are. Okay. And then if you see somebody getting 148, now your goal is that, man, will I study so much now? And will I get so many skills in the next time that I'm going to be appearing for the mock that I get more than what this guy got? And that too, according to my own principles. I will not go look up for answers on the internet. I will not go look up the actual answer key, but I will actually do it according to my own principles. That should be what you tell yourself. According to my mock scores, they sometimes went abysmally low. I will tell you, I guess the lowest that I scored in a mock would have been 74 or something. Okay. And then like the highest I would have gone would have been 100.
And when was this score of 74? I mean, it was the end part of your preparation or around like December last year? When was this score? I mean,
yeah, I'd say somewhere towards the middle only, sir. I'd say this year only, like January or something, January, February. Yes,
okay.
And how many mocks had you given prior to that?
That
or you were asking to do some number crunching because you just wanted to get at something that, I mean,
for everyone, right? So yeah. Kids who
so I'd say I would have done 10 mocks or something before that. That could be a rough estimate.
And in the overall scheme of things, you did about 106.
No. Like in the actual exam, you're asking how much I scored.
No. I'm saying, आपने जो ये score आपका आया, which was 74, उससे पहले आपने 10 mock दे दिए थे.
Yeah.
आपने overall 100 plus mocks दिए थे?
Oh, of course not. No. That's such a bad idea to give more than 100 mocks. That will just confuse you so much. Don't give so many mocks, please. If you're giving 100 mocks, that too, in 1 year, it's like you're giving 2 mocks every single week, which is, it's like you've made Clat your hobby. Don't do that. No, sir, when I was looking at all these papers that I had to put in the garage finally day before yesterday, and then I counted, I have given 40 mocks in total throughout my preparation. But what I did with them was that I ensured that I'm able to seek as much knowledge as possible from each of these mocks.
So analysis of those mocks was very, very critical for you?
Oh, that's the only thing you do with the mock, right? It's not because you want to tell your conscience something fake that I got these many marks and therefore now I'm guaranteed all India rank 1 in the exam, right? Because it just doesn't work. Nobody cares about how you score in a mock. What actually will matter by the end of it would be the skills that you are able to gain from every successive mock that you give. So if you are repeating the same mistakes, you will continue repeating the same mistakes unless you actually sit down with a mock. Sit for like over 2 days, I would have analyzed one mock, because in 1 day it is too much to look at 150 questions. So in total, I'd say you give 7 to 8 hours to every single mock, spread over many days, that is, and then you analyze every single question about how it went wrong and whether there is a conceptual understanding you have with regards to why it went wrong, or it's merely because you misunderstood something at the point itself. Why were you not able to attempt all sets of mathematics? Was one set wrong in the question itself, like it was in the exam, or was it something else? Right? You ask yourself these questions, and then you will come to a conclusion over what's actually happening. When how can you get out of it, and then you will be able to make some actual change.
That wrong section? Did you attempt that wrong set of questions that came in math? You spent time on it?
Like I did go through it, and I thought that, man, there's something shady about this one. So I thought I won't really give that a try. So I attempted 10 questions. I attempted only 9 questions, and I got 9 on 9 correct. So I got 9 marks in the maths in Clat 2021.
Okay, so couple of questions more before we let you go. What is that one thing that you liked so much in law that, okay, this is the place that I want, or this is the course that I wanted? What is that one thing that you would call as a calling that got you to law? And what are you looking forward to study and grasp out of the program?
So one thing would be the way that you are able to make really convincing arguments so beautifully, even though you know that that argument itself is so hollow that it has no sense to it at all. That art is so appealing to me that I thought I will spend 5 years studying it. So,
right, brilliantly put. Brilliant. And this is what you plan to learn for the next 5 years. It's very controversial. Kartik.
No, but like to be honest, like just the fact that you get to read and know so much in this field, that was something that really impressed me. The fact that I now have access to like 25,000 journals and documents. I can go read anything that I want to, and I can write. I will have great space for creativity, for freedom of thought, to express whatever you wish to, because law school is actually the place for that, for unorthodox ideas to at least take shape about things that would be unacceptable in society for a larger whole, because we may be too conservative to adopt them. But at least the mere expression of those ideas, the mere susceptibility that they may have towards other individuals, that's something you can test out in law school. So it's a great place to be. And these are like beacons of dissent also, and that space must be secured by students who are occupying these positions. Yeah, but I'd also like to say this one thing, sir, that there are only 2,500 seats.
Sorry,
there are only 2,500 seats across all 22 national law schools, and there are only 1,401 seats that are unreserved. Okay, and those are the ones where a good proportion of the competition is happening. So out of 60,000 people who are appearing for the exam, if a person is getting rank 1,000 or 1,000, 1,500, I saw this video by this teacher, Jijo sir, this morning, where he was talking about the same thing. That person would be at 97.5% or 98 percentile or something, if someone's getting rank 1,500, rank 2,000. But that person will be so dejected after getting the result, despite the fact that they're in the top 2.5% of the people who have appeared for the exam. They will still be so dejected because there aren't enough seats for them. So the problem is more systemic, that there is great requirement for more spaces for lawyers, since the requirement for individuals who are able to advocate for constitutionalism, who are able to advocate for the presence of the rule of law. That is far greater than what we have right now. And if the exam does not work out in your favor, it does not say anything about you. Since our Vice Chancellor, that is Professor Dr. Sujit Krishnaswamy, in the first lecture, in the first orientation session that we had with him, he said one thing, that the exam with which you have come over here, it is a lottery. And you are the persons who have succeeded in that lottery. You have to earn your space here. And you do not deserve that space merely because you succeeded in this exam. Because the fact that you know the length of the Sino-Indian border does not signify your capability in learning and understanding the law. So even if you do not succeed at this Clat examination, it does not matter at all. It does not say anything about your abilities as a person. And if you are really excited towards pursuing this field itself, there are plethora of institutions which can help you out. And Ankit sir and these would be the best guides towards that. But it's not the end of the world, is what I'd say.
All right.
Kartik,
another question: how big a support system were your parents when you went through this entire journey of cracking Clat?
Oh yes, sir. Very, very much. Since say one thing is that it would have been entirely impossible without all the resources that I had. That is, like if again you have to acknowledge, understand, and then work upon your own privilege. If I did not have this laptop with me, if I did not have access to all these resources on the internet and all these books, I probably won't have been able to make it. So for that, I'm entirely indebted to my parents and everybody else who was able to provide me with that. But the environment that you are in, like my elder brother, he is a student at Ramjas College. He's pursuing the master's in history. And he has actually consistently been my inspiration towards what I should be doing in life, since he's probably the most intelligent, the most well-read person I know. And he has knowledge in almost every single domain. And he's actually who I look up to when I feel that, yeah, I'm not good at acquiring the skill. So actually, he's been somebody who I've always looked up to for success.
Right. So parents and your elder brother.
Yeah.
Please give us his name.
Oh, his name is Moksh Kalra. Moksh Priya, he's a student of history at Ramjas.
Sure. Aman sir, you have a question?
Yeah, so I was, and your teachers, your and Pratham, I mean, like, so how was, how would you look at that, right? How important is that support system, or how was
right
for you?
So the thing is that in search, if somebody would be watching, in search for mentors, you should not be wasting your time, because they will not do anything for you. You will be doing everything that is required. So what you need is not mentorship. What you need is action. So again, like going to all these resources and looking for individuals who would be able to help you out. It's actually only you who will be able to help yourself out. So it's not essential having an individual who will be able to guide you throughout the entire project. But of course, like I did have the privilege of having these guys at present. That was Abhimanyu sir, who was a person that I was consistently in touch with throughout my preparation. He was a great support system, and he guided me through many things in the course of the exam. So yeah, he was incredibly helpful. Plus, like these classes on elementary mathematics, like I also somewhat forgot only how this basic stuff works, cost, price, selling price and stuff. So for that also it was useful. Like Kumar Akash sir, if I'm not wrong, was the mathematics teacher. Yeah, very helpful classes, and what great conceptual understanding he also had. So yeah, I also appreciate that a lot.
Yes. And also, do you feel that it just gives you more? I mean, again, you are such a self-motivated person yourself, right? But do you feel that it is easier to discipline yourself if you are looking at a peer group, or you are doing mocks, right? So do you feel that there is more there's a method to the madness, right? Because otherwise it just gets crazy, right? What do you have to do, what you don't have to do, but then everything is moving with the deadline, with the date in mind. So do you think that is helpful for students who are maybe not able to manage their time that well?
Yeah, but like this has been the theme in many of these interviews that I've also been seeing of people who've topped, like the person who got the first rank, Manhar. If you watch his interview as well, he also says that he had this peer group with all these people where they used to discuss GK topics and stuff. My friend Sukarm, who got the third rank, fifth rank, I don't know, and Nidhi, who got the second rank, they were also in a study group where they used to discuss GK topics and all of that regularly. And I myself was in a group with three of my friends that were Kartik Sharma, Laksh Chaudhary, and Hanan, who were also incredibly helpful. Like we can talk. This is where friendship actually begins, where you start from talking about the exam, but then like they transcend into such great things in life, and these are relations that you're going to cherish forever. So I would say that these small groups of a couple of people, they are incredibly helpful. So all other friends of yours who would be somewhat interested in the exam or just interested towards learning, you can make these small groups with each other. You can have a Zoom call regularly. You can talk about all the things in life that are bothering you. Maybe your mock scores, if they are bothering you so much, you discuss it out with them. And if there's not something you're able to figure out yourself, because it's one thing that we always feel we are correct. That whenever there will be something in the mock, you will feel, no man, the guys who have made the mock, they are wrong. My answer, what I feel should be the correct answer, that should be the correct. So when we are all individually, naturally thinking only from this perspective. And when there's somebody else who can call you out that, no man, you're too stupid to think you're correct. It's actually the answer that they've marked correct, that's actually correct. If there's somebody who's able to tell you that, and then you're able to navigate through what should actually be the correct answer, I think that's very useful for those purposes. Yeah.
Have you read the book called Think Fast, Think Slow?
Yeah, Daniel Kahneman.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah.
That's what he calls bias, right? That
Yeah.
always bias.
Indeed.
And the problem is that there are people who can see the biasness, or there are people who can't see that. People who can see that I am biased, then again, I mean, it just can take you somewhere else if you can identify that, right? That there's a problem.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Okay. But with regards to this, these friends can be really helpful in guiding you throughout the exam, because there are things that bother you a lot. Like, I will tell you, particularly to me, this legal section in the mock series that I had taken, it had bothered me so much that I had sometimes every single answer seemed to be correct. Sometimes every single answer seemed wrong. I had no idea what to work. So then, like, we started having this session after all four of us appeared in every mock. After that, we used to sit 40 questions in the legal section. We used to sit through each of them and then see whether it's actually correct or no what all of us are doing. Mostly, we observed that we were all committing similar mistakes. So we were only like half a mark below each other, 1 mark above each other, because of course we had this one thing guaranteed, that all of us are appearing with honest, because we don't want to have a futile achievement that we are getting so much in mocks, because that's useless. So we wanted to focus on our skills. And then we thought that if we sit on each question individually and figure out what is going wrong, and then we are appearing for all these mocks till the exam, we'll probably be able to figure out stuff that's going wrong in general, and we'll be able to work on that. And that was really helpful. So that should be a good way to guide yourself towards some sort of achievable perfection towards the individual sections.
All right. So you are now in NLSIU Bangalore. I'm sure from the time that the result came out till now, I'm sure you'll be feeling like a mini celebrity.
Sir, all thanks to the interview you are taking.
Sorry?
All thanks to this interview you are taking, sir.
So I'm sure you've given it other way to some other people as well. How kicked are your school teachers or your principal about this achievement at Cambridge, Noida?
Oh, very much, sir. Everybody is really happy. Like, of course, it feels good that like a student who's been in your school. I've been in Cambridge, Noida the entire time, only 14 years of education. That's what I was discussing with you, that we've already studied for 14 years, rather 5 years over here. Then some people even study more than that. So that's a great proclivity people have towards education. Let's hope I also have it. But then, yeah, teachers were incredibly pumped when they also got to know that I got this rank, because they also feel that, because it becomes a fraternity, it becomes a family by the end of it, that everybody in Cambridge you're able to identify with. And then they also feel incredibly proud that our students are ones who are achieving these things in life. So, yeah.
Right.
like you do, like your students are doing such great things in life. It's actually you who feel that, yeah, these are my people, this is my family, which is going ahead doing all these things.
And as a teacher, I think that's the best feeling also, right? That
Indeed, sir.
a student calls you after 7 years or 8 years, and then you're still talking to each other, and
Yeah,
so what he is doing or what goals he has in his life, right? Suddenly you also start thinking about those goals, and they are kind of your goals as well.
yes,
So
sir.
there's a
Right. So towards the end, I would just like to say congratulations, Kartik. You've done. I mean, your parents very, very proud. Your teachers, us very, very proud with your great rank. I hope you continue to excel in whatever you put your mind to, and like we discussed earlier as well, take the best out of NLSIU Bangalore. जितना
sir.
पढ़ सकते हो, जितना सीख सकते हो, उतना सीखो, because these 5 years are not going to come back. So absorb whatever you can to your heart's desire, and get the maximum out of it. So one final thing, and in case you have anything that you wish to discuss with us in the future, we are one phone call away. Just give us a call.
Yes, sir.
We'll be more than happy to discuss things out with you, probably give us a solution, maybe because we've seen the world slightly more than you.
Of course, sir. Yeah.
Right. But just give us a call. We'll be one phone call away. And we wish you all the very best for your time at NLSIU Bangalore. Shine bright there as well, like you have done here. Aman sir, any final thoughts?
I guess congratulations, all the best, and have fun, right? Jaisa bhi, whatever you've been doing
sir.
so far, right? I think read more, and because for you reading is fun, so I'm
Indeed.
sure you're gonna have lots and lots of fun.
Yes, sir. All
Right.
right. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right.